I have a new book review for you guys. And I know I'm a couple years behind on this review because this book came out in 2023, but I got it in for a book fair because I thought the premise of this book sounded really intriguing. And when it didn't sell at the book fair, I was like, you know what? This is a book that I think I'm going to read myself, so I'm going to keep it around in the store and we'll see. So I do still have a copy in the store, but hopefully not for long because this is a book that I will absolutely be recommending to people. The List by Yomi Adegoke. This book, I love a book that makes you think. And this book, I think, really, really does this. So the premise of this book, you have Ulla and Michael who are engaged. They're getting married in like a month. Kind of, sort of, insta-famous, kind of. She is a journalist and works at a kind of feminist-centric online news company sort of a deal. And Michael used to be a podcaster and has now just gotten his first job in the media industry as well. So they are celebrating the fact they're getting married, life is good, and then The List comes out. And The List is an online spreadsheet list posted anonymously of abusive men in the media industry in Britain. And understandably so, this throws them for a loop because Michael is on the list. Now, Ala has, as a journalist, she has covered these types, the Me Too movement and these types of stories and the lack of justice for women who have experienced abuse and assault and things like that. And now her fiance is on the list as somebody who has harassed, physically abused, and has a restraining order against him by a woman. And Michael goes, I don't know I didn't do any of this stuff. And this story is really about how they are coming to terms with him being on the list, what really happened, how does this affect their life together? And when I say it affects their life, I mean, the list blows up their life, essentially. And there's so many good points in this book. I mean, this is really an examination of the internet and the anonymity of the internet and how, I think we all know at this point that the internet, especially, when you get on social media, people say things on the internet that they probably wouldn't say to somebody in real life when they're face to face with them. The anonymity of the internet gives you so much more license to express your mind and say things that you maybe wouldn't have the guts to say in person. So there's this kind of contemplation of the responsibility of anonymous lists like this and the lack of justice overall, especially for women historically who have not received good treatment when they have reported things like assault or harassment, things like this in the industry. And I don't know that I know a woman who hasn't experienced some sort of harassment or assault or something like that. I mean, that in and of itself right there is to say, I don't know of a woman who hasn't experienced at least harassment. That's a mind-blowing concept to think about. And then to see how this list not only affects Michael's life, but affects Allah's life as well. And the kind of self-examination she has to do in terms of, does she believe Michael when he says it's not him? Is she enabling abusive behavior? How does she play into this narrative? If she says, I know him, he couldn't do something like this, does that mean that she is dismissing the claims of this anonymous woman who has said this happened? And she has always been a proponent of, I believe, women, and the small minority of false reports versus the huge abundance of accurate reports or incidents that have gone unreported. I mean, it's mind-boggling. It really is. But what I really found interesting about this book is told from 2 points of view. You have Allah, and then you have Michael, and it's like alternating chapters. So you really get to see inside Michael's experience as well as he's grappling with I didn't do this, and my background check shows there is no restraining order. It doesn't exist. It's not a thing. But does that mean that Michael is innocent. That, I don't want to give too many spoilers away, but I found Michael really difficult to, I empathized with him, but it was one of those things of like, do you deserve your entire life to implode over the fact that you did some crappy things? Yeah, it makes you question, it really makes you ask. And then to find out what really happened, how Michael really ended up on the list. But I think it does such a good job of just exposing double standards, exposing problematic language, misogynistic things that are just so ingrained into culture that maybe men don't even realize they're doing them. So it was really, really a fascinating book. And I could not stop listening to this book. I typically only listen to audiobooks in my car while I'm driving. I don't have the attention span to like be cleaning my house and listening to an audiobook because I won't remember what is happening in my book. Like I need to be driving in order to do it. But I was listening to this book in the mornings when I got into the store and I was like cleaning up and doing bird cages and all of that sort of stuff because I was so invested in figuring out what happened and how is Allah coming to terms with this? What did Michael really do? If the restraining order isn't real, what did he truly do to get himself on the list? And then the ramifications of that. And it's like, I know this book came out a couple of years ago, but it is still so relevant to today. And I'm going to pause here 1 second. I want to look something up. Okay. Sorry, I was looking it up because I thought it was in the book, but the audiobook version has a Q&A with the author at the end, and the physical book doesn't have that Q&A in it, which makes sense because it's with the audiobook narrator and the author. Anyway, so one of the things that she talks about in the Q&A that is, I think, really well exposed in the book as well is this like double standard on the internet and how the people who, are asking for grace and hashtag think first before you post, make sure you're not being a cyberbully, that double standard of how many times those same people are being overly aggressive in their own postings. Like it was so interesting. And like we see it on TikTok all the time, the cyberbullying is not just on Twitter or Facebook or, whatever the kids are on these days. Clearly we see it on TikTok as well. And it really made me think about my use of the internet and social media, which is so ironic because here I am posting a video about this book. But, I feel like I try to be I try to bring my own personality and how I am in real life in the fact that I do try to think first. I don't engage in a lot of negativity on the internet. I tend to be ones like I'll read it and then I think, or I'll speak about it with my husband, but I don't post that sort of stuff because the internet really is forever. And what you say in the heat of the moment could not be what you truly feel, if that makes sense. So anyway, I know it's like there's maybe it's a hypocrisy that I'm here posting about this book when I'm like, oh, it makes me think about my use of social media, but it really did. And it's, I think the quote on the front here, it says, it's an astute debut about the internet and reality's gray areas leads to a disturbing twist. This book is so good. I will definitely be watching for more from this author. Hopefully she's working on something else because I really enjoyed, the pacing was great. The characters were really good and relatable and real and flawed, but also you like them. Most of them, some of them were just, bleh. But that's humanity too. There are some humans out there who are just like, bleh. So I thought it was just really, really well done. So I do, if you are in Central Wisconsin, I have a copy in the store that I would love for somebody to come and get because this book is really good. I think it will really make you think. And you'll be very interested to know how Michael actually ended up on the list. And the fact that, he may not have done exactly what he's accused of. And like I said, the restraining order isn't real. That's a fake thing. But is he really innocent? I still don't like Michael all that much. I like Allah. Allah is awesome. She's amazing. So yeah, there's my 10-minute rant. Thank you for bearing with me about the list. Definitely go pick up a copy. The audiobook is really good as well. So either way, if you go to Libro or here, you're good.